Hey guys, and welcome to Quality Shot. I'm really excited to be joined by Aaron, the Cricket Connoisseur, as you can see, and you can probably tell by what's on the screen that we're going to be discussing the England versus Pakistan series, the white ball series that's starting actually today. So this has been recorded just before. Aaron, how you doing, mate?
All good, Faizan. All good, yeah. I mean, obviously coming off the back of, two series victories over Sri Lanka, pretty comprehensive. It has to be said, winning 5-0 across the ODIs and T20s respectively. And then, of course, for those who don't follow English football, England won the semi-final of the Euros, which was absolutely outstanding. It really, really was. So in terms of my Thursday morning, Faizan, it doesn't really get much better than this. And then, of course, a couple of hours later, after we're recording this, the England-Pakistan series gets underway. So, yeah, not a bad day, to say the least, for the cricket connoisseur.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. I think it's been fantastic for the last few days of sport. I was actually at Wimbledon yesterday myself, and trying to cover multiple sports has been a nightmare. So much going on, but I'm looking for. I can't complain. Can't complain. It's been great.
Yeah.
So you can see the we're going to be talking about not the England football team, as much as I'm sure lots of viewers will be very excited about that. But we will be talking about the England cricket team and some very unfamiliar faces in the squad because unfortunately 7 people tested positive, if I'm not mistaken, and therefore a bunch of players have had to self-isolate. And that means that we've had a revised squad with Ben Stokes leading them. So I'll just quickly go through it, and then I want to get your thoughts on it because you are the county cricket expert out of us two, to be fair. So there's some players in here who I don't have a huge amount of knowledge on, so it'll be good to get your view on them and whether you think they're deserving of a place and what they can bring as well. So just quickly go through it for those who maybe are just listening and not watching. Ben Stokes, Jake Ball, Danny Briggs, Bryden Cast, I hope I haven't completely butchered his name,
No,
Zach
that's
Crawley,
correct.
Zach Crawley, Ben Duckett, Lewis Gregory, Tom Helm, Will Jacks, my good old sorry mate, Dan Lawrence, Saki Mahmood, Dowd Milan, Craig Overton, Matt Parkinson, David Payne, Phil Salt, John Simpson, and James Vince. So a couple of obviously familiar names in there. People should be familiar with, of course, Ben Stokes, but Jake Ball, Dan Lawrence, Saki Mahmood, Dowd Milan, Zach Crawley, Ben Duckett even. He's played some matches for England in the past, in test matches. Lewis Gregory as well. And James Vince, of course, I guess. And Matt Parkinson's been in around the squad. And Craig Overton as well, I'm sorry. But there's obviously some pretty new additions, I guess, or people that maybe haven't featured as much. Danny Briggs, Bryden Cast, Tom Helm, Will Jacks as well. And let's have a look. David Payne, John Simpson. I mean, what are your thoughts on the squad? Are you happy? And what's your overall feeling before you get into kind of nitty gritty of the players?
Well, this is the thing, Faizan. I'll do my discussions about the emissions in due course, because before I get into that discussion, I just want to say a massive congratulations to David Payne and John Simpson, because we've actually had those two on the podcast. Great guests, great blokes, really nice when you speak to them off the field as well. And to be honest, David Payne, for those who don't know his story, is absolutely worthy of this spot without a shadow of a doubt. For so many years, he has been one of the best players in county cricket in terms of seam bowling, who has not had this chance to represent England. And he thoroughly deserves this. If you look at his list A record, his average is around about 24, 25. He is absolutely prolific. He's been absolutely outstanding for Gloucestershire. Really one of their key players, played a key part in their 2015 Royal London One Day Cup win against your team of Surrey, of course, Faizan. And he's just a great bowler, left arm, tall, pretty quick, gets that angle in, has an absolutely beautiful in-swinger. David Payne, I hope he gets a chance. I really, really do. That'd absolutely make my week in this series, in particular after a certain omission, which I'll get to in due course. And then with John Simpson, as much as I think John Simpson, fantastic player, great wicketkeeper, by the way. I think that's why he's here in the squad. Let's say, for example, Duckett or Salt did pick up an injury and England needed to, shift up the batting order. Simpson can come in the middle order and be a specialist wicketkeeper. So that does make sense. You may look at his batting stats, sorry, and say, well, why didn't Ben Cox come in, for example, or someone else, another county keeper? But the fact is, John Simpson is outstanding with the gloves. So personally, I don't mind that, actually. I don't think he's going to start, but I think it makes sense from a tactical point of view, thinking of the squad. In terms of some other people that people may not be too familiar with, Tom Helm, funnily enough, John Simpson's Middlesex teammate, again, a really, really good prospect. I have to admit, again, tall, quick, gets extra pace and bounce on the ball. prolific wicket taker for the Saxes. Just a great prospect, I must admit. And then in terms of the final one, I think, as we rightfully said, Faizan, a lot of people know the majority of this squad anyway, but Bryden Carse is rapid. It's as simple as that. He can also hit a cricket ball a long distance as well. Plays for Durham, been absolutely outstanding for them across all 3 formats, in particular this season in the red ball, alongside the likes of Chris Rushworth and Ben Rain. But yeah, it's a decent squad that for England, I must admit, and fair play to every single one of those, in particular the 9 uncapped players who are making their way into England ODI cricket. I mean, it's fantastic. Danny Briggs in there as well, as a Warwickshire fan, after an absolutely barnstorming season for the Bare and Ragged staff. So congratulations to all of the new debutants. The only question is, are there a few key omissions? And yes, there are, Faizan.
Yeah, we'll get on to that in a little bit, actually. Of course, there are definitely some key ones. Yeah, a shout out to Will Jacks as well. I mean, I don't know if there may be listeners that do know him, but I guess some that maybe are not from the UK and maybe don't watch too much county cricket might not be too familiar with him. He has played in the Big Bash. I think he played this year, but he hasn't played before then. And he had an okay Big Bash from what I know. But yeah, top order bat. So I think he opens the batting in the T20s for Surrey. And in the ODIs, he will be in that top order. And also has some handy off spin. Well, a handy off spin at the Oval on a day on a kind of used pitch, and he actually manages to get through his overs and be pretty economical. So I don't know whether he'll get a chance to bowl, but interesting whether he gets a chance as well. And look, Matt Parkinson, obviously it's a big chance for him because most likely he will start, I'd imagine, given this squad. He's been in and around, and I know Bumble, David Lloyd absolutely loves Matt Parkinson, being from Lancashire himself as well, and says that he is a huge talent, and actually picked him in his Lancashire all-time 11, which is incredible to think about, considering that Matt Parkinson, that's how much he rates him. He genuinely is so high on him. So let's see. Leg spinners do get wickets in the ODIs. I think we discussed this in one of our previous collabs where I think you said about Adil Rashid, and they need to try out different leg spinners because eventually Adil Rashid will not be able to continue at the age of 42 whenever he gets older and not as capable. So yeah, they need to look at long-term replacements rather than short-term replacements. Matt Parkinson is one of those. Zach Crawley with the white ball stuff. I know, talking to Daniel Bell Drummond, his teammate at Kent, that Zach Crawley is an attacking batsman, and I was actually surprised a little bit that he wasn't picked in the white ball squad before the Test matches. But the reason why I think that happened, obviously, is because England is so strong in general in white ball cricket, so that's probably why. Yeah, let's go on to the omissions then, because, I mean, let's start off with, I guess, the more glamorous omission, which is Alex Hales. What do you think? Are we ever going to see him in an England shirt again? Because it seems to me as though it was a bit of umming and ahhing, and people kept on asking him. I think Nasser Sain asked him on Sky Sports, asked Owen Morgan, and Alex Hales as well. I think several conversations. Alex Hales said, I haven't spoken to him, but I've sent him a message to say, I'm willing to, make things work. And Owen Morgan said, he basically said something to the, I don't know, he said something along the lines of, look, if someone's good enough to be in the squad, they'll be in the squad, without directly addressing the situation. But it seems to me, and I could be wrong, that it might not necessarily even be a management thing. It seems like the relationship between Owen Morgan and Alex Hales is broken down. He doesn't quite trust him. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I don't see him playing for England. Maybe not ever again, because of course Owen Morgan at some point will have to retire. Okay, and that will be a sad day as well for English cricket. But the relationship's gone. It's irreparable as far as I'm concerned. It's been 2 years. There hasn't been any progress made. And you look at this is a golden opportunity for Alex Hales. You look at his record against Pakistan, it's outstanding as well in ODI cricket. He's brilliant against them. He's had a fantastic Big Bash for the Sydney Thunder, leading run scorer in the entire tournament, been absolutely outstanding as well this year for Notts. There's nothing statistically saying that Alex Hales should not be in that squad. The only thing is that relationship. That bridge is well and truly burned as far as I'm concerned. It's been 2 years. There haven't been enough conversations. If the conversations have happened, there clearly hasn't been enough substance behind them. And yeah, we're just going to have to deal with it as England fans. I mean, the only thing that I do wish that we could just have, as fans, and not just as England fans, but cricket fans in general, is just the answer from the ECB or Owen Morgan. Just clarity. Just tell us that he's not going to be back in, because the amount of speculation that was had before this squad was announced. Alex Hales coming back in, he'll be an ideal fit. He's a very powerful batsman, plays to England's style. Was, of course, part of England's rebuild from 2015 all the way up to 2019 before that incident. And you think all of the fans, the Notts fans, the fans of him who may have come from the PSL, the Big Bash, for example, want answers. And to be honest, they deserve answers as well. I don't think we're going to get that in writing now from the likes of Ashley Giles or Chris Silverwood or Owen Morgan, but I think that this squad, just looking at that right now, that is the answer. If Alex Hales cannot get into a second-string England team after being in some of the best form of his life in the past few years, it's just not going to happen. And I think that we as England fans, we as cricket fans, just need to accept that now and move on for the time being. As I said, the door's never closed in international cricket. Things happen. Look at this, for example. I'm telling you now, this week when Danny Briggs was playing for Warwickshire against Durham, he never thought he would have been playing for England the next day. And yet that's happened. He's got his call-up in the space of a week. So international cricket's funny, call-ups are funny, but as far as I'm concerned, I think England have moved on, and we just need to move on as well.
Yeah, it's definitely...
It's annoying. It's frustrating. It does leave a bit of taste in the mouth.
Yeah,
exactly.
It does. It really, really does. I think given how good he is in T20s especially, and has been franchise cricket for a couple of years now, or for a number of years really, it's just, as you said, there's a confusion around it. So if they had a hard line on it, then you'd say, okay, you might not agree with it, but there's clarity there. And I think the issue is the lack of clarity, as you rightfully point out. So
100%.
Let's see. I can tell you're chomping at the bit to tell us about some more omissions that I know you definitely think should be included, and I know after reading some of your tweets as well. So do you want to let me know which omissions you're not happy about?
Well, I think there's one glaring one, Faizan, and to be honest, I'm still not over it. I'm going to be honest, like, how on earth Sam Hain is not in that squad is absolutely baffling. It's baffling. And for those who don't know who Sam Hain is 25 years old, plays for Warwickshire, pretty much wins Warwickshire games single-handedly in the Royal London One Day Cup, which is England's premier 50-over tournament. He has a list day average of 59.78. It's the highest in history. No other batsman who's played more than 20 20 list day matches, has got a higher list day average than Sam Hain. Not Virat Kohli, not Babar Azam, not Michael Bevan, not Mahela Jayawardene, not Ross Taylor. We could go through each and every single batsman throughout history, and Sam Hain is the top. How he is not in an England squad is an absolute disgrace. And he has not had a single word from those at the ECB explaining why. The thing that everyone used to go back on, and it was the easy option to say why Sam Hain isn't being selected, is the strike rate. And fair enough. Okay, you look at England squads in the past, we have guys who are striking at 99, 100. There's a couple of players in there who have a strike rate of less than 80. Okay, Sam Hain has a career strike rate of 86. In 2019, his strike rate in list day cricket was 88. Zach Crawley, for example, has got a 72 strike rate, and yet he apparently fits England's ethos. He fits England's system, but Sam Hain doesn't. I cannot explain that. That is absolutely baffling to me. And we're not just talking about stats. Clearly, they aren't watching him as a player, because Sam Hain, as I said, single-handedly wins Warwickshire matches. 2019, we were absolutely struggling against Worcestershire. It's the derby at New Road. Worcestershire picked up some early wickets. Sam Hain comes at the crease and just nudges and nurdles, rotates the strike, milks the strike, and gets Warwickshire up to a decent foundation in the 40th over. From overs 41 to 50, he completely exploded, score 161 out, and Warwickshire go on to win the game. Look, what can he do? In fact, when I tweeted this, and for those who've seen the tweet, fair enough, that's all I'll say. As you can tell, I clearly wasn't happy. But Ricky Clark, who used to be Sam Hain's teammate at Warwickshire, even said, what more can he do? What more can he do? A 59.78 career list day average. Not only has he got that average, and yes, averages aren't everything, but if you look at the leading all-time Royal London One Day Cup run scorers, he is 10th. Okay, and that in itself is very impressive. It makes it even more impressive when he missed the first 2 seasons. Everyone else had a 2-season head start. Sam Hain, since 2016, has scored over 1,800 runs. in the space of 4 tournaments. It's outstanding. It is absolutely magnificent. In addition to that, in the top 10, he's also the youngest by a country mile. He's 25 years of age. He's not a 32, 33-year-old who's had plenty of opportunities. He never even gets a chance. And then the third and final argument, which I've seen over Twitter, and fair enough, you could argue that this is why, is his record for the England Lions. But even then, he scored centuries for them. He scored 2 centuries in the Lions Tour of the West Indies in 2018. He scored 60-odd against Pakistan as well in 2019. Yes, he had a poor England intra-squad game in 2020, but he's just come off not playing cricket for months. Like, the fact is, we need clarity. It's such an important thing, and we as Warwickshire fans definitely want that. There is absolutely nothing that should be standing between Sam Hain and a spot in that England squad. There's nothing. There's nothing statistically. There's nothing anecdotally. There's nothing intangible either, because this guy is a match winner. He has got the mentality that England require to win matches. So for me, Faizan, I know Alex Hales is the big one. He's the headline one because he's played for England before. But the fact that Sam Hain is not in there is an absolute robbery. And people need to answer. We need answers about that. It's as simple as that. It's ridiculous. He's been robbed of an England place yet again. We had the exact same excuses for the Ireland series in 2020 when Joe Root wasn't in the team. We've had it when Joe Root's been rested. Sam Hain is an ideal number 3. An ideal number 3. And for those who've watched him play, you'll know exactly why. So for me, Sam Hain 100% should be in that squad. And I feel incredibly, incredibly sad for him, to say the least, as you can probably tell.
Yeah, I can definitely tell. I've never seen you more passionate about something, so it's good to hear. And
it's not
to be fair,
it isn't.
Yeah, to be fair though, I mean, look, I do know a little bit about Sam Hain. Obviously, I'm not as in tune with him as you are, being the Warwickshire fan and big Warwickshire fan that you are. Yep. Exactly, in the Warwickshire shirt, exactly. But yeah, it's a weird one. I just
it makes no sense.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's nonsensical. So I don't know. Let's see what happens. I think realistically, he's still got a bit of time left, but it'll be a shame if he gets to 28, 29, 30, and then they pick him then after he's performed so well, and you just feel like there's been a few years wasted where they could have put him in the squad.
Let's be honest. Let's be completely honest here, and I've got absolutely nothing against Zach Crawley. I think he is a wonderful batsman. Brilliant, brilliant talent. I know he's had it a bit rough in Test cricket for the time being, but I think the boy's got an absolutely brilliant future. But what is there to justify picking him over Sam Hain, apart from the fact that he's played Test cricket and is in that clique?
Yeah, there isn't. I think there's a little bit of a perceived notion, which was a little bit surprised actually, and it's a good stat that you brought up that his strike rate's in the 70s in List A cricket, because I think there's a perceived notion that he's an attacking, aggressive batsman because that's how he plays in Test cricket, and in T20s as well. I think he's done pretty well in the T20 Blast, etc. But in List A, and I think we have to be honest, it's different formats. So I agree with you that he's probably been picked less on merit than, you've already been in the England setup. So you know what, let's pick you in there because we think your game could suit it. And it's more of a kind of gamble, roll of the dice more than actually we know that you're going to perform. So let's see. But I agree with you on it. It's an interesting one. Then I guess before we move on, I want to briefly just touch upon the Pakistan squad. We've got a little bit of time. Is what would be your predicted team for the first ODI?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think Haris Sohail's just been ruled out as well.
He has, yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. In fact, let me just get the squad up because I need to see.
I know. What's your predicted team for the England team? Sorry.
Oh, for the England team. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting one. That is a really interesting one. I don't know who's going to open. And this is the key thing. I have not got a clue. Because the fact is we've got Phil Salt there, James Vince. I think those two will open for me personally. So they'll go as my first two. At number 3, I feel like we'll go with Dawid Malan. To be honest, I know some people have said Ben Stokes because, of course, he did get that score against India, didn't he? A few months back. But I'll go Malan at 3. I'll go Ben Duckett at 4, who may also potentially have the gloves. It'll be between him and Salt, basically, who have the gloves. Ben Stokes at 5. The all-rounder is going to be an interesting one, isn't it? Do you go with Gregor or do you go with Dan Lawrence? That is such a tough one. I think because we've got 2 spinners, I'll go Lewis Gregory. I'll go Lewis Gregory at 6. In terms of another one, do we go with a second all-rounder? Because again, there aren't really many batsmen. Something we could do is go Will Jacks as a finisher, which would be interesting. For those who know Will Jacks, he's played in the T10. He also scored 70 from 24 balls, which was absolutely outstanding against Middlesex at Lords. So we could actually go with him. In fact, if this was up for me, if this was me, Faizan, choosing, I'd want to go with something different just because I want to see Will Jacks in there. So I'd go Will Jacks at 6, Gregory at 7, Danny Briggs at 8, 100%. Get Danny Briggs in there. I'd go Sakeem Mahmood at 9, Matt Parkinson at 10. And then it's between Ball, Carse, and Payne. And of course, I've got that connection with David Payne. I think England will go with Jake Ball. But again, if this was me selecting, I'd go David Payne. Get that left arm angle. I think that'd be quite interesting.
Yeah, that might be why they go with him, actually, because of the left arm angle. So let's see. Jake Ball, obviously, is righty, and he's done pretty well. And I don't know. But yeah, I agree with you. I can't see John Simpson or Tom Helm getting not the first game anyway. The rest of them, though, James Vince and Phil, so I think they'll open, which will be an interesting one for sure. And obviously, Craig Overton could potentially get a look in as well. I don't know as one of the seamers, but I think the rest of them, I think you're probably pretty much spot on. I think Zach Crawley would do very, very well to get into that side. I think he'd be quite fortunate to get into that side. As we've already said, he's probably fortunate to be in the squad potentially as well. I do have the Pakistan squad up, so I will bring it up for you. We'll just go on and look at the ODI squad rather than the T20 squad because I don't think we need to be looking at that. If I can... No, I'm just drawing all over it. So I'm just going to go view actual size and we'll keep it like that. Right, so we have... So we just said that, Haris Sohail obviously is injured, which is genuinely a huge miss.
Massive.
I'm really upset about that because... I really wanted him to be back in the squad, and he is finally. And then he gets injured. But I'll quickly go through it. Babar Azam, captain, for those who are listening. Shadab Khan, Abdullah Shafiq, Fahim Ashraf, Fakhar Zaman, Haider Ali, who actually has been replaced by, oh my gosh, Zahir Maqsood even, because he broke bowl protocol. So Zahir Maqsood's in there after doing really well in the PSL. Haris Sohail is obviously injured. Hassan Ali, Imam Al Haq, Mohammed Hasnain, Mohammed Nawaz, Mohammed Rizwan, Salman Aliaga, who's done very well domestically, Safraz Ahmed, Saud Shakil, again, another good domestic player, Shaheen Afridi and Osman Qadir, your favourite.
He's good. Got a good flicker.
yeah. I'm going to ask you then, just give me 3 players that you think are the big threats for England, and then we'll go into the predicted 11.
I don't want to go too cliche, but of course, Babar Azam. He is such a magnificent batsman. And also, you think in this series, he's playing at Edgbaston. Now, I'm not sure if anyone remembers the last time that Babar Azam played at Edgbaston in an ODI. I was there watching it live, and my goodness, it's one of the greatest knocks I've ever seen live in a stadium. That century against New Zealand was absolutely masterful. He's one of my favourite batsmen to watch, Faizan. I could spend an entire show absolutely waxing lyrical about just how much I enjoy watching Babar Azam at the crease. It's poetry in motion. It really is. The fact is, Babar Azam, right now, you think he's got county experience. He's got experience in these conditions. He's one of the best batsmen on the planet right now, and he's a great ODI player. So without a shadow of a doubt, I think the main guy, the talisman of that Pakistani batting lineup is 100% Babar Azam. In terms of my other 2 choices, I'm going to go with the express seamers. So Shaheen Shah Afridi, again, I saw him take 3 for 29. He went and took 6 for 35 as well, didn't he? Against Bangladesh, if you remember that at Lords in 2019. Such a good seamer. Offers that left arm angle. He's going to be producing all sorts of issues for England. And then Haris Ralph. You know me, Faizan. I love Haris Ralph. I think he's class. He's very fast. Yes, he does lose the radar sometimes, but I'll tell you what, when he gets it on the money, he can change the entire complexion of a game. So I'll go Babar Azam with bats, Shaheen Shah Afridi and Haris Ralph with the ball. I think it's going to be a great series. I cannot wait for this first ODI today. I know it's a new-look England squad. And to be honest, you could argue now Pakistan are definite favourites because of the inexperience in that English batting lineup in particular. But it's always a great series. It really is, isn't it? When Pakistan come to England's shores, they always find this extra level of competitiveness. So I can't wait. I think it's going to be a great series and may the best team win, Faizan. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I agree. Well, if any team is going to lose to a revised squad, it'll probably be Pakistan. But we should be beating England at least. Yeah, at least beating them anyway in both series. Whether we clean sweep them, I think, is probably particularly ambitious. But who knows? If we get into the swing of things, we do, as you said, we do tend to raise our game in the UK and tend to like the conditions, the bowlers especially. In terms of then a predicted 11 for the first ODI, what do you think in terms of a lineup?
I'm going to be honest, I've not got a clue because I don't
Yeah.
know how that Haris Sohail injury is going to change it. That's the
So
problem.
I reckon so they're definitely going to go with Fakhar Zaman and Imam Al Haq, I think, to open. I think that's a definite.
Yep.
Babar Azam at 3. At 4, this is what I mean. Like
Exactly. This
it
is
gets
where the
very,
injuries arise.
very weird. Our middle order is pretty soft. They might go with one of the newbies in Salman Aliaga or Sol Shakil potentially. And then after that, it's like, okay, well, what do you do for the rest? Abdullah Shafiq could get in there at 4, but again, like we've tried him, and it's interesting. A lot of people think he shouldn't be recalled into the side. There's no Mard Wasim. He's only in the T20 squad. He's not on the ODI squad. A really weird decision as well.
Yeah, I found that weird.
Very weird. So say one of the newbies, I reckon, in at 4, and then at 5, I think they'll go with Mohammad Rizwan. 6, probably Shadab. 7, Fahim Ashraf, maybe. And then you've got 8, 9, 10, 11, which they're probably going to pack out with Hassan Ali at
100%.
8. I mean, he'll just whack it at 8, and then you've got at 9. You've probably got. I mean, they'll probably go with Haris Sohail for your mate, and then at 10, I don't know. I think Mohammad Hasnain and Shaheen Afridi maybe, but if they want to go with a spinner, then obviously they'll pick Mohammad Nawaz potentially, or Osman Garden, and one of the seamers will drop out. Yeah, so if that's the so I think the issue that Pakistan have is they will have to choose. If they pick a spinner, they'll have to choose between Haris Sohail and Mohammad Hasnain. That's the battle, and that will also be the battle for the T20 World Cup probably.
Yes,
in terms of the final seamer, because they will play 2 spinners. So that will be that's a direct face-off, I think, for competition. But yeah, okay. To finish up on then, what's your prediction? We'll say just for the ODI, for the ODI series, and I want to give you. I know you said in terms of like threats, but in terms of just your personal preference, who are you looking forward to watching the most out of each side as well in the ODIs?
Oh, that's a great question. To be honest, I do like Usman Khadir. I do. I think he's got a great flipper. We saw that in the Zimbabwe series, and he's just coming on leaps and bounds, isn't he? In terms of confidence, the way in which he just struts up to the crease, bowls these absolutely beautiful leggies. I think he's a great spinner. I really do. And I think that if he does play, I think he could have a big role to play, in particular against this new look English batting lineup, because you need a leg spinner. Look at England with Adil Rashid, for example. You do need a leg spinner in England to turn it both ways. But I suppose at the same time, you could also argue that with Mohammad Nawaz. So I'll go Usman Khadir, personally, for Pakistan. I think he's a great spinner. In terms of England, that's a really tough one, because, again, you're asking the host of the Carry Cricket podcast, who talks about these boys every single week and says how much they deserve it. Obviously, David Payne. I think David Payne would be absolutely brilliant to watch. He's a great bowler. If he does play, Pakistan really need to be on alert. They do, because he is a very, very dangerous bowler, in particular with the new ball. He can generate swing with that left arm angle. In terms of another one as well, I want to see Phil Salt get some runs. Simple as that. Phil Salt is such an enterprising, innovative batsman. Really exciting to watch as well. So I'll go with David Payne and Phil Salt for England, and Usman Khadir for Pakistan.
Very good, very good. Yeah, I think it's going to be a great series. Your prediction then, in terms of the ODI series?
This won't happen often, Faizan. So for you and the viewers, you may want to archive this, but I'm going to go Pakistan 2-1. To be honest, I hope England don't get swept, because it's the Super League. We need the points. In fact, both teams could do with the points. 100%. Obviously, this is all enforced. It's not ideal for England, but I hope that they can put up a decent fight. And maybe the game that we do win is at Edgbaston. Who knows? I think that'd be quite nice.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll be 2-1. Are you going to any of the games?
Unfortunately, not. No, haven't been able to get tickets. I mean, you should have seen the, especially for Edgbaston, as soon as they went live like that. They just went.
Yeah,
there was a massive, massive appetite, because at the end of the day, it's a big series. We love it when Pakistan come to England. It's such great cricket. The fans as well. Can I just say, I can't mention Pakistan ODIs without mentioning that crowd in 2019 of the World Cup. I will never forget that. In the Stanley Barn stand, and there is just this sea of green Pakistan flags all over the place, the horns blaring, crowd chanting Babar Azam's name. You don't forget stuff like that. So as I said, there's a reason why those tickets sell out incredibly quickly. The atmosphere is brilliant. So can't wait for the series. Should be brilliant. And yeah, for all of those who are going, enjoy yourselves, because you're in for a very, very good series, to say the least.
I agree. Can't wait. Thank you very much, Aaron, for being on as always. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I can always count on you to bring up some fantastic stats and facts, and of course with an impassioned speech about Sam Hain as well in the middle, which is great to hear. Please do go and check out the County Cricket Pod, which is of course on all fantastic podcast sites. So go and check them out. I'm sure they're on where all good podcasts are. Even you can find them as always. And of course, he's got some fantastic interviews. He just said that he's talked to David Payne and others from the squad and also in Cairns Cricket. So if you want to get a good insight into some of the new guys in the squad, then go and give that a listen. And also, I'm sure he has some fantastic guests coming up as well.
We do.
Yeah, perfect. Cool. Thank you very much, guys. Stay safe, stay well, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you very much.